Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Changemakers podcast. I'm so honored to have Danielle Bettmann with me here. This is a platform where we have trailblazers, people that are transforming lives, making huge impact in their environment. I'm so honored and privileged to have Danielle here. She's a parent coach, and the name of her business is Wholeheartedly Parent Coaching. Is there anyone who doesn't need help communicating with their kids at different levels, different stages of growth? We all do. But thank you so much, Danielle, for making yourself available and making yourself, um, you know, available for this kind of coaching, solving this kind of problem. I
Yeah.
really want to know what Wholeheartedly is about. Can you please tell us all the gist behind this? I can't
Yes,
wait to hear it.
absolutely.
I'm
Thanks
so
so much for
excited
having
to have
me.
you. Mhm.
So, I am a teacher by trade. I have a teaching certification from birth through third grade. And originally, I started off in classrooms in Head Start and Early Head Start. And I moved into home visiting as a partnership with Save the Children, working
Wow.
one on one with families in their homes. And I was helping parents better understand their kids and how to get them ready for school, but then also just coming alongside the parents. And I quickly realized that what happens in a classroom is great, but what happens at home is what really matters most and what wires kids.
Yeah.
And the parent-child relationship is the most influential, important thing. And parents are doing this hardest job in the entire world with so little training or manual or resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's my life's purpose to come alongside parents to help them better understand their kids, to help them find effective tools that they can actually get their kids to put their shoes on, but also create some good human beings in the process and find ways to stay calm through this hard journey and be the parent that we really do want to be and show up as.
Wow.
And so that's why I call it wholeheartedly, is because
Okay.
it's something that we pour our whole heart
Sure.
into. And it's with that full commitment that we
Mhm.
show up to parent and do the absolute best we can.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. I need you to come to my house. Can you tell, can you tell us what inspired you to doing this? Because, you are going to meet different kinds of kids.
Yeah.
And it's not easy as much as they are just so interesting to be around with. But, well, what
Yes.
inspired you?
Yeah. So originally, back when you're 18 and you're supposed to know what you're going to be when you grow up,
Mhm.
all I knew was that I liked kids, and so I was like,
Yeah.
I'll just go into teaching, because I had done babysitting and gymnastics coaching and all the things. So I go to school for that, but I quickly realized when I'm in elementary school classrooms that it wasn't a good fit because I didn't feel like it was meeting kids' needs in the best way that helps them
Mhm.
really flourish and grow. And I felt like it was just kind of set up to fail, and there was so much like teaching to the test, and I didn't like it. So then I panicked and I'm like, well, then what am I going to do if I'm not going to be a teacher? And I just realized, no, I think I really like the younger ages. I think I really
Okay.
like the toddlers, the preschool age, the time when they are just like so like lit up and alive about learning and they grow so quickly. So
Mm.
I moved into the early childhood ages and I loved that so much. But again, when I had a preschool classroom, I realized these 3-year-olds were already missing out on a lot that, those first couple of years are so important for, language development wise and just skill wise. So then I started teaching infants. And at that point was when I really created these strong relationships with the families. And I realized it's really what's at home is what matters. And the more that I learn about early childhood development, it's so fascinating because the 90% of a child's brain is fully formed by the end of their 5th year on earth.
Wow.
And that's fascinating because it's happening at a rate of about 1 million neuron connections per second, and they are forming their entire view of themselves, their view of the world, their understanding of how they get their needs met. They're kind of downloading like their subconscious of really what they're going to run on autopilot the rest of their lives. And they're, developing all of their language development that has a huge correlation with their academics later on.
Yeah.
And it's just so important,
Yeah.
and we, as a society, we don't recognize that as well as we should, because if we did, we would probably support families in those years a little bit more tangibly. But
Right.
I really feel like families really do need a lot of support. The whole cliche of it takes a village is true. We're so isolated, especially in 2020,
Right.
that we need all the help we can get to be able to just have the bandwidth
Yeah.
to not be so frustrated with our kids and not,
Mhm.
project our stress onto them,
Yeah.
and to really be there for them as they are growing at such a quick rate and they're trying to figure all these things out and they're just being kids and having a hard time with it all, and it's just all hard. So I really feel like I found the way that I work best as a coach,
Yeah.
because my strengths are communication and building relationships, and finding ways to problem solve and ideate and tweak and troubleshoot with families on a individual basis. That helps me really be able to fill the gaps for them of what's missing and what maybe what information they need to hear in that moment to be able to better connect the relationships, or just have a lot more tools in their toolkit that help them feel more confident to be
Right.
able to know what they're doing and feel good about what they're doing as a parent.
Thank you so much. This is so insightful. Can you just describe briefly a kind of environment that you think a child will thrive, at least at the basic level? What kind of
Yeah.
atmosphere do you think?
That's a great question. Yeah. So if you have a young child, they're still
Mm.
at home before kindergarten.
Right.
One of the most important things is how the frequency of how much they are talked to. So at any
Mhm.
age in the first few years of life, there's a very proportionate correlation between just the amount of words heard. And that links up to the amount of words that they have as their expressive vocabulary when they get to school. And that expressive vocabulary then correlates with their reading level in fourth grade. And
Okay.
the reading level in fourth grade correlates with the high school dropout rates. And so it
Wow.
really creates a very strong trajectory that starts in these early years. And it's all about how much they're spoken to and how much conversation there is in the home.
Wow.
And so that's a really, really kind of underrated
Yeah.
aspect of home life, because, yeah, we're talking, but it's
Mhm.
it's those really, good conversations where they're picking up new words, where they're really, having back and forth and learning things in context. And it doesn't take a lot of work from us, but it really is just paying attention to that extra level of intentionality to, talk to them about what groceries we're getting, or talk to them about, what the conversation you just had on the phone, or talk to them about whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's just that frequency. So
Wow.
that's one big piece of it. And
Okay.
another is just the understanding that kids learn through play.
Mm-hmm.
So giving them opportunities to have very open-ended aspects of play where they can just explore and be curious and be a lot more process oriented, rather than creating a certain product,
Yeah.
or playing in a certain way. And knowing that the best toys for them are the ones that don't really do anything unless the child engages with them. So I think that our consumerist society says, like, buy this toy because it does all these things. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
more for entertainment purposes. The best toys are the ones that just lay on the floor, like play food or blocks, or magnetiles, or things that don't do anything unless the child
Yeah.
engages with it, and then the child's brain then has to do all the work. And that's really where they learn and grow and start to become very imaginative in their play. And that's really where they kind of play out all the things that they're learning as they're processing them, and take on all of these aspects that are so important now as an adult, to be able to innovate and be able to think differently and creatively. So those are two things that
Yeah.
are really important in
Oh,
those
thank you
early years.
so much. I didn't know about that, but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing which I would like to ask you now is when did you start? So were you teaching before? And
Yes.
when did you start your coaching?
So I started wholeheartedly
Yeah.
in early 2019. So
Okay.
it's almost been around for 2 years now. And I had taken some time off after I had my daughters. I stopped teaching. Mine are 7 and 6, and they're 15 months apart. So when I had my second, really quickly after my first, I left the school I was working for and worked for an in-home provider for a while so I could be with my daughters. And then I started leading a mom's group locally. And then I ended up actually leaving that position very abruptly and needing to find something else. And I had the idea for starting a business, but, was scared. So, cause I didn't really know the first thing about starting a business, and just decided to jump in with 2 feet and get it started from, kind of scratch. And so, it was like March of 2018 that I, filed for the LLC and got the website and all of that. And then in April and May started taking some of my first client families. So
I really like how you said you were scared at first, because it's real for a lot of us. It's really real, and you still made a move. You're still doing it, even though you were scared. And that's the beauty of it, because we need you in this line of work. And that's why I said thank you for making yourself available. Thank you for, because a lot of people have this desire, they have this dream, but because they are scared, or maybe because of any other circumstances, they give themselves excuses to not try, to not do anything. But the cost is more than when you try to do something. So you are not alone. I'm talking to our audience now. You're not alone if you feel scared to try this thing. So when you started, was there a time you experienced rejection from people?
Yeah, it was a strange thing. So in like May of that year, I started, my Facebook page and started, trying to figure out all the social media for marketing and things. And I wrote a story about my daughter crying in Krispy Kreme and having kind of like a meltdown tantrum about wanting 2 donuts instead of the 1 donut I had bought for her. And so I posted a picture of her at the table where she was crying, and wrote a quick, story about like, here's what happened. And, there's 2 ways I could have handled this. One is, to tell her that she is spoiled and take away the donut and, punish her for it. And the other way was to understand that, she just really wanted 2 donuts and she doesn't have a lot of impulse control. And I could acknowledge that and, really lean into her big emotions of validating that, but then also, coming back to the boundary, still sticking with just 1 donut, but letting her kind of play out this fantasy of how many she could eat. And, then she was fine and ate her donut and we left. And so that post actually ended up going like kind of semi-viral, where it was seen by over like 350,000 people, which the page at that time had like 79 people, like so small. And so that was bizarre, because then the comment section got crazy, and it was just a whole bunch of strangers, putting judging my parenting, and it was a field day of, mean comments. There was a lot of positive ones, obviously, because that's why it was, getting big. But that was the first time where I realized, like, okay, I'm going to have thick skin if I talk about, controversial parenting on the internet with strangers. So it was a whirlwind that week, that it was, kind of going crazy. But then it was good, because then, my page did grow a lot, and I really kind of found my voice. So what'd you say?
Did you get more followers?
Oh yeah. Anybody who liked the post, I could then invite to follow the page. So it went from like 79 to like 2,000 overnight.
Wow. Awesome. Do you know, someone once said that if you really want to attract people or followers, just put up weird stuff, something that it's just out of the box that people wouldn't want to, but because it will grab their attention, even though I don't have the gut to do that, actually. I don't want anyone to quote me along the way in the future for saying something which I do not believe in. Well, that person, it worked for that. Well, that wasn't your intention anyway. You were trying to also, that's what you do. And and it's okay. And I like how you handled it. Were you thinking about it? Did you feel bad for yourself?
I mean, there was a day or two where I was kind of really, worried about like some of the things that people had said. And then, my husband wanted to like defend me and like right back to people about like, but then it just kind of subsided, and, business as usual, people moved on. So it wasn't, it was more of a learning curve for me to
Yeah.
just be comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
that level of like visibility and being confident in like, no, I really am sure that this is, what I want to say,
Right.
and the message that I want to send to the
Yeah.
world. And so I think that's helped. I mean, I haven't been able to make that happen again, because who knows the chemistry for me, when something goes viral like that,
Yeah.
you can't just reproduce it. But no, it's a good learning experience.
Yeah. So what about friends and family? Where when you started, did anybody tell you to get a real job? Are you sure this is gonna
Mm.
work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always wondered what people were saying behind my back, because I never have had, I think I've only had like one or
Okay.
two people within my friends groups,
Okay.
like actually engage with anything that I've done
Okay.
as like a small course or a workshop or, coaching itself.
Okay.
And so I haven't
Yeah.
ever felt like super supported
Yeah.
that way. And my family follows me and everything, but they think they know me because they see all my public posts.
Yeah.
Um, but I've just really tried not to worry about that, and
Yeah.
tried to, detach from needing that
Yeah.
validation, and just like finding that within myself, because I know what I'm doing is what I'm meant to be doing. But there's definitely a lot of inner skepticism that I
Mm,
had to work through, of just that imposter syndrome, and feeling like I'm not qualified enough, and feeling like I don't know what I'm talking about. And, having to have that internal battle of just continuing to pursue it when, it doesn't just take off overnight, and it's, paying all of our bills. I've had several times where, it's a whirlwind of, a bit busy month, and then a really quiet month, and then, wondering, do I need to go back and get another job, or like, do I need to kind of give up
yeah.
on this? And
Yeah.
of course, with the
Yeah.
pandemic hitting, I was doing all in-home and in-person workshops. So then having to kind of pivot, to basically create an
Okay.
online business then. I mean, and I started a podcast. It was pretty
Yeah.
overwhelming for a while. So there's been a lot of ups and downs.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this. And I hope our audience are able to see that this is real. You've got to trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you feel like no one is supporting you, I always say that allow your families and friends to just show up the way they are. You are the one responsible for giving your vision life.
Mm-hmm.
Just allow them to show up the way they are. It doesn't matter. They might not be as inspired as you,
Mm-hmm.
as what in what you do, but just let them be, so that you, by doing that, you're freeing yourself, you're also freeing them. And that is needed for all of us. And you won't need any validation from anyone. You just need to do it for you. You don't need to prove a point to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better you prove the point to yourself that you can do it, because there are times that those thoughts will come in, will creep in and start. You will feel unqualified. You feel you don't have the skills, or you're not enough. But
Mm-hmm.
you just need to keep going. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
you're not alone. You're not alone. And thank you so much for sharing all of that. Was
Mm-hmm.
finance an issue
As
at any
finances,
point?
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
the beginning.
Because
Yeah.
the start of, of getting it off the ground was an abruptly from my other job.
Okay.
I didn't have any income coming in, and my family, what is like, we could manage on just my husband's income, but we
Right.
were choosing to send our girls to a private school where
Right.
I needed to pay some of that tuition from my own income. So
Okay.
there was immediate pressure to, make money and not have a lot in the bank to invest right away. And that's probably something that I would have done differently, or wish I would have maybe known better,
Yeah.
that, I can't expect to turn a profit the first month.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship works.
Yeah.
But it was really good, fuel to
Okay.
really push me to get things going quickly,
Yeah.
so that I could be at a place where I could start, bringing in income. So I think I only invested like $600 or $700
Okay.
initially, and made that back within like the first 2 months of
Mm.
income
Wow.
back. And so I felt like, out of all the costs of what it
Yeah.
takes to get a business off the ground, I felt like that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good because sometimes it takes a lot of people years to make a dime in their business.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said because that pressure could have made someone else to do what they are not supposed to do, and
Mm-hmm.
they lose focus. But it helps you plan and work at what you're meant to work at, and it helps you create a goal for yourself and go after, work towards achieving it.
Mm-hmm.
Find the right strategy to implement, meeting your clients where they are and making sure that you're bringing in income.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy for you that you were able to break even as early as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
And was there any time when some negative thoughts crossed your mind and you just feel like, well, you mentioned part of it along the way, and you just feel like you're tired? Can you
Mm-hmm.
continue? Is this really feasible?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt that really hard this fall because I had started a podcast in May and I had done like a, mastermind group in April. And I was working really, really hard through the pandemic to pivot and, offer new services and move everything to a new website online and get weekly podcast episodes out that were all interviews that were editing that, I was doing it all myself. And it was very overwhelming. And I had my kids home,
Yeah.
from school and, we were living in an apartment at the time. We ended up moving to a rental home in August because we could not stand it any longer of being in lockdown. But then once we decided that we were going to send our girls to school in the fall, I had to really say like, no, I'm going to make this business work. I need to have the time to work on it. I'm committing to it. But then it was like crickets, like September and October. And everyone I would talk to was like, oh, parents are struggling so much right now. You must be swamped. And I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like nothing. I'm not hearing anything from anyone. And I was starting to really freak out about it because I was working so hard and doing all the things and like not getting any new clients.
Oh,
And so then I had kind of like a really strong like do or die moment
yeah.
in October where I was like, I'm either going to go get a job at a daycare or I'm going to like hire a business coach, which is like
Right.
get income or
Yeah.
like drop another investment.
Mm,
and
oh,
and I was
yeah.
panicking about it and I decided to get and invest in a business coach for like a 6-month, group program. And it's the best decision I ever made. It's been so helpful. I can't even speak to like the level of value that I've gotten from it already, but it really was taking that and choosing myself and choosing to say I'm in this for the long haul and I'm going to back that up with, putting this on a credit card, even
Yeah.
though it doesn't really make common sense.
Hmm.
Now I've had more people reach out to me in the last few weeks than the last few months combined. And I think that people are hitting burnout with the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is real.
It
But
is.
also, I feel like it's just, I've had to go through a lot of growth myself in really getting clear about who I can help and how I help best
Yeah.
and how to be really clear about that and to really make connections and serve people well. So
Right.
it's been a whirlwind of growth for sure.
Yeah.
And I think every entrepreneur goes through that.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
That's the reality of an entrepreneur's life. And
Hmm.
one thing which you also mentioned, it's important for people to seek help. A lot of people have done it, they've gone ahead of you. So if you can find a mentor or a coach who has done it before, who is successful at it, who can hold your hand and walk the walk with you, that would be good. And thank you so much for sharing this. And so how can we reach you? Well, you
Mm.
all can meet. We just want Danielle to mention how we can reach her again, but you find the link on the description section and
Yeah,
reach out to her.
I would
So,
love that. So I live on Instagram. So come find me. I am at parent_wholeheartedly, and come say hi. I'm in my stories all the time, and I share a lot of value there. I post every day. I have a Facebook group as well that you can search. It's called Parenting Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
And my podcast is called Failing Motherhood, and I share
love
interviews. Yeah, I share interviews with other moms that speak very honestly about that feeling of failing and feeling like they're screwing up their kids and having a temper, and just talking about what that looks like at their house. And at the end of every episode, we really just want to remind every listener that they are the mom that their kids need. And so if you resonate with that, definitely come find that. It's on any podcast platform that you listen to podcasts on. We have 30 episodes there. And then my website is parentingwholeheartedly.com, or parentingwholeheartedly.com/coaching is where you can find out more about how to work with me. And I specifically work with families that have young kids between the ages of like 0 to 8. Particularly families that have at least one kiddo that is particularly hard to parent, and strong-willed or difficult or whatever you want to call them. We all have one usually. And I also really help families that feel like they're trying to navigate that dynamic of parenting between one parent being too lenient, one parent being too strict, and finding better discipline and creating a solid foundation for their family's future of just getting on the same page. So that's really kind of where I run. So if that is you and you're a family that needs some support right now through the pandemic, then reach out for sure. I'd love to say hi.
Thank you so much. And I know you have a gift for us. What's the freebie?
Yeah. So I know that the most stressful moments of parenting are in those meltdowns and tantrums and like those big emotions our kids struggle with. So I put together a workbook that is 5 pages of what to do in that moment. And then it also includes a printable of five steps to get your child back to calm that you can print off and put on the wall and use with your child. So you can download that for free. It's at parentingwholeheartedly.com/emotions.
Thank you so much. So for our audience, I just want you to, I just want to clarify, or I want to find out if you work with blended family also.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big, because I help families write a family business plan, which is essentially talking about your end goals and your core values and your family's identity, and writing a mission statement and really hashing out through these conversational exercises who you are as a family and what matters to you and how you're teaching that. And it's a great exercise to do if you're a blended family, for sure.
Oh, thank you so much, Danielle. This is so good.
No, it's my pleasure.
I'm going to do this, but this is so good. It even goes deeper, like writing a family plan.
Yeah.
Statement. Yeah, I know that I hear it from people. It's good for you to have a vision for your family. Yes, we do actually, but I didn't know that it's, sometimes you think it's just your thing, but it's really important. Thank you so much. It's been so good to have you here, and we look forward to having you here again if you don't mind.
I love that. No, yeah, for sure.
And the change makers. Now we are getting to the end of this program. I know that this might seem like, no, don't finish. You can see that Daniel has been telling us a lot of things that are so insightful and useful. Well, let's look out for next week. I would like you to watch out. You don't know, there's a surprise. There's a guest coming up next week. And till then, bye for now.